I mean, I think that explains it. I think there's initial. Look, I mean, we had a lot of fun in the month of October, and you do like to reflect on that. But then when there's a little space that you realize, how close you were, how difficult it is to get how difficult it is to get to that game, how much work it's going to take to get back to that situation. And so when you're that close, there's always a little bit of you that feels like, man, we got a lot of work to do to get to that point again. And it's disappointment. It's ultimately what drives you. But it makes you a little bit mad. That's how it made me feel. It really did. I was a little mad. Probably once the World Series started, I was a little bit angry. That's the truth. I just for probably the conclusion of baseball until you got rid of baseball. Yeah.
How do you feel, Craig, about your chances of getting back to that? I mean, as you said, it's hard to get back, but just when you look at where you're at in the roster and what they have planned this offseason, how confident are you that you will get back?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot of work to do. I think the fact that we do have a team that we're able to bring back the core group of what was there. And there's going to be newcomers, and it's going to be different. But we feel like we'll be in a position to certainly try to make a good run at it. And that's, we're all excited about it for sure. I think everybody knows the season finished, and we have something left to do. And that's going to be part of next season for sure.
How different is the feel like up in the room this winter meetings compared to the previous ones when you were still actively rebuilding?
I think really for us, it turned over, as far as the winter meetings, it turned over, you'd always kind of judge how agents and players are kind of treating you and as far as a destination. And so, that changed last year, in my opinion, of what we were able to accomplish last year. And so it's the same, we took it a couple steps further this year, but overall, I think it's the same feel from that sense.
Craig, what advice would you give this kind of next set of first-year managers with little or no managerial experience about kind of handling that first year on the bench as a manager?
I mean, the most important thing is that I think you have to be yourself. That's the most important thing. And I guess the second thing is that at times, I think managers, you have to a little bit distance yourself from the emotion that the results give you, if that makes sense. And because I think emotion sometimes it causes biases, and that biases can cause bad decisions. So to avoid some of that, I think, of what emotion does to you, I think is, and that's not saying be an unemotional person, but understand how it affects you.
Is there a way you kind of found to help keep things from speeding up on you? I mean, if there were any situations, seeing them for the first time, the playoffs even?
Well, I think. No, I mean, that's the fun of it. I think you have to treat that as the fun of it, is that there's things that you haven't seen. That's where preparation makes you feel a whole lot more comfortable. That's where trust in your coaching staff makes you feel a whole lot more comfortable. So those are things that you control as best as you can, and then understand that if you're the first time in the dugout, even if you've managed at the minor league level, the first time in a major league dugout, there are going to be things that you haven't seen before, and things happen that you haven't completely prepared for.
Craig, I don't know if you were out of the country when those fires were lapping at the houses of Ryan Vaughn and Christian Yelich, and just how close they were to peril. But even if you were, I'm sure you came back to peril. What did you think about those times? Did you reach out to them? And then what have you thought of what they've done since as they've tried to raise money to help the people who lost their homes?
Well, Christian, I feel like has really kind of continued. Just my admiration probably has grown this winter, I think, is how you see how he's kind of taken this upon himself, and Ryan and Mike as well, and Mike Antanasio as well, have taken this on themselves to be leaders. And so I think anytime you see your players act as leaders, and this is something completely apart from baseball, you're really proud of them. And so they've taken a great leadership in an important, tragedy in their community. But to see them take this leadership, it makes you proud. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we've been a good baseball team for a while. I don't think things change that much. I think a game against the Cubs, a game against the Cardinals, a game against the Pirates. It's a challenging game against a really good team, and wherever you're at, whatever happened the year before. I don't think in game time you think about it too much, or you feel like Hunter, or whatever. You get in the action and you got to beat them. There will be different obstacles for our team this year, different challenges for sure. But I don't feel like that will be one of them. And feeling like that we're the hunted. I mean, I think. You can try to pass that on us as a writer from Chicago, but it's not changing.
We've seen some non-traditional coaching staff hires in baseball in the last year or two. Analytics driving that. What are your thoughts on that? It's sort of a trend. Are they bringing something that some of the coaches that were in place with the traditional hires don't have?
I think what every organization is hoping for. Coaches are communicators. They also share information, obviously, but it's about communicating, and it's about either communicating information in one sense analytical, or information probably past experience. Or information that I've gotten from my eyes. It's about communicating that to players. And so, major league coaches should be the people that can best communicate information to players. And so that's a pretty big umbrella. In the past, it's been, largely coaches at different levels or former players. But I do think it's right that it should be people that can best communicate the information, and so that's opened it up a little bit, and I think that's the way it should be.
With your coaching changes, especially Derek Johnson, Chris Hook is a guy everybody respects, but is that going to be a big loss for the organization?
Well, we're going to have a different challenge for us for sure. I think for the pitching program, we had got it. I think we were getting to a point where we felt like we're pretty locked into some really positive things. Now our challenge is to build on them. But at the same time, we're going to have to start over a little bit with Chris, and so the challenge will just be for him to get up to speed as fast as we can. Now, the positive is that Chris has worked with and has developed a fair number of our pitchers already. So he comes in with a really advanced start from that perspective. And so that's why I feel that we can make a very quick transition and get up to speed quickly. But look, it's a challenge. It's going to be a challenge for Chris, but we think he's really prepared for it.
The answer to this is yes. Was Derek on this? Were you and Derek on the same page with the pitching decisions, especially late in the year?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. No. I mean, our pitching decisions are always, a source of a lot of conversation for a bunch of us, and and it's nothing's a surprise. Nothing's going to be a surprise to Derek during the game for sure.
You and David have always spoken about being successful by like making good decisions, stacking good decisions on top of each other. Do the margins for those decisions become more difficult now when you guys feel that you're as close to where you want to be or you're a contending team now?
I think that's exactly right. I think it's certainly challenging, in a different roster construct to come up with ways to. It's more difficult to come up with ways to make your team better, and the margins are smaller, and there's a smaller kind of. You're able to use less players probably to do it because it's hard to subtract from your big league team and do moves if you're really trying to make yourself better. So that is I think probably a challenge for any team that's having success. I think most teams that are having success probably find it that way. But that's the new challenge of an off season like this.
That said, though, are you surprised that there hasn't been an outside move? It's a non-roster guy. But
Yeah.
Are you a little surprised that there hasn't been an major league import yet?
No, I really am not. I think it has to happen at the appropriate time, and deals come together when deals come together, and so I don't think if you just don't look for a name to make a transaction. Our best deals came together in January last year. They could come together in February this year. So there's no timetable put on them. We don't have a game until April or maybe late March. So we'll have enough players by then.
Usually you save this line for spring training.
I do usually save it to them, but you're getting a little antsy. Yeah.
Rebuild quick, everything gets
There's lots of stories to write here, Adam. There's great stories. Yeah.
Adam, are you going to
Yeah, who's your opening day starter?
Yeah, it's almost like you've cursed our opening day starter. That's what I feel like we're at, because we're on this running joke for about 3 years, and you have cursed the opening day starter. So we'll name this curse in spring training. It'll be a central part of our morning interviews. Is that the Adam McCalvy curse will be discussed?
It might be declined. If the pitcher's smart, he'll decline.
Yes, he might. Yes, because of the curse. Yes.
Hey, a ways away from 2019 roster construction and full, you might not know right now, but what's kind of your thought on the opener in terms of 2019? Do you anticipate going back to it in some form or another?
We didn't use the opener a lot. Again, I've used some different pitching terms, but I think I would use it as I think of it more as how are we going to get 27 outs in a game, and so. Traditionally it's been there's a starter that kind of throws 100 pitches, and you leave them out there for 100 pitches, and then a series of guys finish the game. And so we've just we've used our personnel to kind of look at it differently, and maybe there's 6 outs here, and maybe there's 9 outs here, and there's 4 outs here, and so that's really kind of the things probably we're thinking about more. I do think you're going to need pitchers during the regular season that get you, the more outs they can get you, the more valuable they are. I mean, that's really helpful. 21 outs is a great performance from one pitcher, and we're still looking for that and still want that, and we're still going to need it.
What the Rays did in the regular season that you and the Post.
Yeah.
I think there might be some ripples from that throughout the game, just teams realizing, hey,
Yeah.
we get guys to do this.
Yeah, I think teams will definitely look at different ways to get through games and get 27 outs, and to use their personnel in the best way they can. I think the strategy is different in the National League with the pitcher hitting, and that changes. I do think that changes the calculus that you have to think about and how you want to structure that, because once you go through an opener and you put a starter in a game, if that starter comes up in the 4th or 5th inning and you've got an at bat that you need in that game, you're already down. You're going to go through pitchers quickly then, and that'll catch up with you. So there's different costs, I think, associated with that strategy in the National League game.
When it comes to relievers generally and their year-to-year volatility, why do you think that happens, and what challenges that presents in trying to plan a bullpen for a year?
Yeah, look, it's a question that we haven't answered, the volatility. I think it's there's the sample is not that big, and so sometimes luck can play a little bit of part of results. It shows up, the luck shows up a little more for a reliever because there's less innings, doesn't even out as much some years. I think their health is something that we're trying to do a better job at understanding, and what does that mean to performance. I spend a lot of time thinking about that, and I think trying to put guys at their best, I think, is something that's really important in how we use them, and I think matters, especially over the course of a long season. So but it's certainly a question that we'll continue to think about, and we don't have an answer for it yet, and it's something you're always wary of, and although we had some relievers that pitched quite a number of innings, I think how you can get to those innings differently. And if you get to those innings in a way that you feel like takes care of them pretty well health-wise, hopefully you can avoid, that kind of volatility that we have seen in the industry with relievers.
Craig, how has the player-manager relationship changed since you first became
not as much as I think everybody wants to say. I mean, I don't. Players are players, and they have the same dreams, they have the same insecurities, they have the same fears. They're good at the same things as players in my generation. I don't think it changes as much as some of us wanted to say it's changed. Now, all it changes is that we get older, and so we don't know how to deal with that getting older. It might be like looking inside is like, I'm just getting older and I don't know how to handle it as well. And so you try to be cautious of that, and you try to have some empathy to what players are going through. But it's not perfect. Ultimately it's communication. And but I feel like players want the same things, and they want communication as one of them. But I think it was fair for say my generation to expect some communication as well too, and I did. Yeah. I really think that's a silly. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know why that's even an article. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's not going to happen.
Even though the commissioner's talking about it?
I don't think it's going to happen.
That would dramatically change the way you guys play.
You can say I was wrong, but I just can't see it happening. I mean, it doesn't make. I'll just say it. I don't see the sense in banning the shift at all. I don't see how it improves the game. I don't see. I think it's a strategic part of the game that is one of the things that makes our game fun. Is like, let's find strategies to win baseball games. That's why we love the game, is because we spend hours. That's why you guys have jobs, because we talk about strategy all the time, right? So if you want to eliminate all the strategies, I don't know. You guys better think about that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's the beauty of the game is all the strategies that we can employ and players can employ. And so if I do think we can make a concerted effort on the downtime in the game. I would love for us to try to attack the dead time in games, but attacking strategies to win baseball games, man, I just don't see that as improving the game.
Have you had an opportunity to share thoughts, and managers been given an opportunity
I have not. Yeah.
Craig, what do you think, though, is the easiest way to increase action scoring since for most of 100 years the game was played with two guys on each side, so it will look that different other than the last 10 years.
Yeah.
The easiest way to increase some hitting?
No, if you want to, the easiest way to increase hitting, and I'm not suggesting this, would be to change where the mound is. If you want more action, least drastic. Yeah, I don't think the impact is. I just think it's a negligible impact. Yeah.
Does that same line kind of follow with possibly limiting the number of pitchers you can use in different situations, which is also come up?
Yeah.
That definitely creates downtime because of
Yeah, you're right.
commercials.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there could be something there. I mean, maybe just spitballing. I would say the farthest I would consider is the one pitchers facing one hitter. I don't know about limiting in overall the number of pitchers, but having to face more than a hitter. But I think you're on the right track. Attacking the dead time is where I would, focus the efforts into improving the game.
Craig, when you look at what you have right now, like catcher, bringing those guys back, if you had to stack your priorities of what you want from your catchers, what is your philosophy? Like, what do you want? What do you prioritize from your catchers?
Well, I think, Adam, players kind of achieve, different players are good at different things, and there's different ways to bring value. And you can't always get, perfect of what you always want. So I think different guys bring different things. And I think you want players because, hey, this player is good at this, and this player is really good at this. So, I think that's what we feel like we have. And we got two guys that are, I think, very sound defensively. I think, obviously offensively, it's a position that, they hit as much as Christian Yelich hits. So offensively, they have an important job as well. So you need some offense from that position as well. They have a large job, and there's many ways to be good at it. But I don't think I don't rank them as priorities. I rank how are you contributing, how much are you contributing in this way, and does that value kind of better than we can get anywhere else.
Craig, considering how much you depended on your bullpen last season and the fact that you got like 3 extra weeks of season, are you going to be any different with them in next spring? I know some managers have backed off guys. Will you have different schedules for them in the season?
Yeah, I do think it's something that we've talked about a lot already, you are bound by the schedule a little bit as far as how much you can back off, but I think it's just going to be really important for us to be kind of cautious at the start, I think, and make sure we know exactly where the guys are as they come in to spring. I think what we've emphasized is that don't change your normal rest time. Take your rest time, and then start your throwing. And if you come in, a week behind, we still feel like there's time to make it up. Spring training does let us go at kind of our own pace, and specifically for guys that don't need to be stretched out, there is plenty of time. For the guys that we're going to stretch out, they got to get going. And we'll have to do that.
Yeah, Craig, the value that J.D. Martinez brought to the Red Sox this year, wasn't all just in performance. Some was non-quantifiable, in that he was almost like a hitting coach, and how much he influenced some other guys in the lineup and his approach and the way he talked hitting with them. How important is it to have a guy like that, and do you have guys like that on your team?
Yeah. I mean, players. I think J.D. and rightfully so got credit for doing that. I think players have always done that, and it's an important part of being a teammate. It's an important part of as a team being connected and sharing. A player's eyes are on each other probably more than coaches. Their eyes are on each other's play, and they have a way to help each other just as much as coaches do. For sure. So you want to foster that environment for sure, where the players are talking to each other, helping each other, and I think it happens. It's always happened. It always will happen. But fostering the environment where it's really making an impact is probably the next step, and something all teams should try to do.
Do you have guys who stand out in that way?
I think players stand out in their own. Everybody stands out in different ways in how they teach. So I've always, for Ryan Braun, his preparation, the consistency of his preparation has always, to me, been a great teacher for players, for our players. And something that you see guys, young players, kind of pick up on is, man, it's so consistent. It almost feels like maniacal sometimes, but it's the preparation becomes so consistent that routines allow you to kind of go home at night after performance and say, I stuck to my plan.